I'm a huge fan of this franchise. John Wick 4 had amazing action, and this was a good ending to this series. Hey, what's up, Nerd fam? This is your boy Gashawn. I want to welcome you to Enter the Nerd. Today, we're talking about John Wick 4. Obviously, the fourth installment to the franchise, the fourth and final is what I'm thinking. Spoilers are ahead here, so just in case you haven't watched it, spoilers ahead, right? So turn it off if you haven't watched it. Or if you don't care, keep watching, right? Now, the John Wick franchise to me has always been very, very interesting because obviously I love martial arts films, I love action films, and I love ones that are cinematically interesting. How they're shot, what's the music like, what's their use of colors. And number one is always choreography. And John Wick, the entire franchise has always had excellent choreography because of Chad Stahelski. That is actually the director, and he was also Keanu Reeves' stunt double over there in The Matrix. So, stuntman, especially a really good stuntman, would be a great stunt coordinator and then be able to direct an excellent action film. He's actually got a really good interview with Scott Adkins on the art of acting. I'm forgetting what it is that he has, what it's called. But Scott Adkins did like a really good interview with him. He explained like his whole like thought process when it comes to coming up with choreography, which is dope. Either way, moving on to John Wick, right? John Wick 4. Once again, it delivers when it comes to action. I think I'm really glad that it ended here because honestly, this series probably should have ended with 3, but I think they knew they could squeeze a little bit more because after he obviously fell off the building after getting shot, hit everything on the way down, and then Lawrence Fishburne's character is like, yeah, we're gonna get the revenge. I was just like, I probably could have had enough here, but whatever. I still thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I love seeing Donnie Yen. I love seeing Hiroyuki Sanada. I love everything he's in. And obviously Keanu Reeves did not phone it in. He always works so hard on the choreography. And he's 58 years old. You know what I mean? So, which was rather evident in a lot of the scenes, which we'll get to later. But in this movie, he does not make it out, right? He dies, which I think is the thing that we all knew was going to happen. I think the weird thing about the table and family and how to figure out like what exactly the mythology around John Wick, it got a little convoluted, especially around 3 when they were in the desert. It just seemed, I know they wanted to create some lore to it, but it just didn't really land the way they thought it would. And that's okay. I got the basic gist of what it was. I understood it. Like it was a little weird, but I think the audience still understood what was going on here. And really setting the stage as to why John Wick is like the boogeyman, because you see how creative he is when it comes to killing people, like the type of scenes. I thought it was absolutely excellent. And even in this movie, the only thing, like my biggest gripe though, when it comes to the choreography, I'll say is this. It's not the choreography itself, but Keanu Reeves is older. And you can see that some of the stunt guys have to visually slow themselves down. So I think sometimes he probably could use a stunt double, if we're being honest. He could use one, but they have not done that because he wants to do all of them. And you know what? It creates better shots when he's the one doing all the stunts because they can do a lot of wide angles and they can show him, like, especially when he's driving, like really cool stuff like that. I get it. But you'll see visually, like you'll have dudes fighting each other, like stunt guys, like moving really, really fast. And then when they get to him, they have to like kind of slow down because, you know, he hasn't been like a martial artist his whole life. You know, even you can watch like the way Donnie Yen is 59, they're the same age, but Donnie Yen moves night and day different when it comes to a lot of like the choreography because he's used to doing this type of stuff for over 30 years, like pretty much since he was a kid, right? Watching Hiroyuki Sanada in there is also great, and he's like 62 years old, something like that. And he's also moving very well, and he's a great actor, like a great dramatic actor, and he is actually a martial artist, especially when it comes to a lot of Japanese-based stuff. I nerd out over a lot of the moves that get done in this series, because they do a lot of heavy judo, a lot of jujitsu, a lot of silat, so many things that are actually practical in real world stuff. Like, you can tell they taught Keanu some really good things. And Chad Stahelski actually has a, I'm paraphrasing what he said, but pretty much the best way to make someone look like they're good at something is to make them good at something. So he's big at teaching actors like actual martial arts. So it's not like, oh, let's just act like you know how to do martial arts. Like, no, let me teach you martial arts. So then when I put you in this scene, you're gonna look very, very real and genuine, right? Which you can see here. Am I happy that he died? Because some people were kind of upset about that. But it's like, no, like, his whole life was already gone. The dog was the last thing he had from one. So he was just clinging to life for almost nothing. He was almost on a suicide run. That's what it looked like. So I thought this was a fitting ending for someone who's been like the boogeyman, right? So, and it kind of had to be his own choice as well. It's almost like no one's gonna be able to kill him unless he decided it was his time to die, which is good. I thought that was fitting. Do I think this was the strongest of the four? Absolutely not. I mean, I told you 3 and 4 I thought were like, while still enjoyable films. I don't think there was any bad film out of these 4, but I think John Wick 2 was the best, because once again, it took some really exciting stuff from the first one and elevated it in 2, and even had better fight scenes. Especially one that really impresses me is the one with Common and Keanu Reeves, when they were fighting outside, and it was like a lot of like sweeps and stuff involved. It was like heavy jujitsu. I thought it was excellent, especially when you have actors and stuff like that doing it. It was really, really good. Yeah. These are the type of movies that I usually nerd out over, especially when the person who's shooting it doesn't want to miss anything. And even I can't believe I missed this, looking at Scott Adkins doing his thing in the fat suit, and they let him actually act a little bit more. I think that's something that Scott Adkins has been wanting a long time, is to show people that he's more than just a martial artist or what people would think is a stunt man. So they gave him some time to kind of chew the scene up a bit, but it was cool because I was like, hold on, what is he gonna do in this suit? I know they weren't gonna waste him, and I thought he was gonna do some Bob, like the character from Tekken, like have him flipping around and stuff like that in the fat suit. And I guess maybe it was more restricting than it looks, but he was doing tons of kicks. He looked awesome. He still looked awesome in it. So good job by him. He died rather effed up. But yeah, still very, very enjoyable. I loved watching him in this movie as well. Because it's really about the action, and the story kind of comes second. Now it does. But before, you kind of just understood, hey, the reason why he's getting after people for killing his dogs, because it's the last thing that he had of his wife. And everything since that has just been pulling on this thread that he had of life. And now we're just finally done. But they had some really cool scenes in here. In particular, there's like this overhead shot scene where he's walking around with like a shotgun just blasting people in there. It's obviously shot from like a drone or something like that, but it looks excellent. It looks excellent. It almost looks like a scene from a video game. And those are the scenes where John Wick or Keanu does the best in, where it's like he doesn't have to do a whole bunch of dynamic movements. He has to just do a lot of little subtle nuances with a gun positioning, whether it's him positioning the gun like over someone's shoulder, mixing it in with the throw, using things as cover, like those really, and they actually named something, they call it gun fu. That's what Chad Stahelski calls it, where it's a martial art but with a firearm involved. And you can absolutely see that's something that really is developed in this John Wick series, and I hope people kind of carry it along. And there's actually a new movie coming out that Chad Stahelski is directing. It's about like a old Finnish soldier fighting like Nazis, it looks like, and they had like a coming attraction for that during the previews. It was really, really good. It looks good too, because they know we need our fix of just a one-man army blasting through a whole bunch of people, and that's what this is. But I thoroughly enjoyed this. I thought Keanu Reeves did his thing in here, like he always does. Obviously, it's not heavier, like it's not winning any Oscars, but hey, it's something that people who like me, who love martial arts films, great choreography, and just exciting action, are gonna love this. Let me know, what did you think about John Wick 4? Did you think that it was like the best action film ever? How did you think it stacked up against all the rest of the series? And to the nerd.